It's another big attempt to get more young people into green jobs that some here in Canada say our government should pay attention to.
Last fall, I talked about a historic new program that my administration was launching with the help of my colleagues on my right here, called the American Climate Corps. As I said, and I'm not being solicitous, Ed Markey talked about that long before. It's patterned after the Civilian Conservation Corps and the Peace Corps and America Corps. Like them, it brings out the best in young people to do what's best for America. And will put tens of thousands of young people to work at the forefront of our climate resilience and energy future, clean energy future. Today, I'm proud to announce that Americans across the country can now apply to become the first members of the American Climate Corps.
And that, of course, is U.S. President Joe Biden speaking at an Earth Day event in April of this year. Now, 2 months later, the first class of the American Climate Corps has been sworn in. China Tai, what was it like being part of that ceremony, the inauguration ceremony of the first class just a couple of weeks ago?
It was really awesome. I've been a California Climate Action Corps fellow for 2 years now, and I'm really excited to be part of President Biden's American Climate Corps as well. It just shows that we are getting more recognition for young climate leaders in this space.
Can you describe for me just a little bit more of what it was like that day? How many other people were there with you? What was the atmosphere like?
So there's about 200 plus American Climate Corps fellows, and it was just a nice introduction from the special assistant to the president of climate. She got to talk about the program, and then a little bit later, we had a small speech from Senator Ed Markey, and we got to do a little bit of a training for the fellows, and then I got to speak. I got to speak a little bit about my experience, why I love being a part of this American Climate Corps, and what I hope people will take away from this service and this career path into the environment.
All right. Well, we're going to get into all of that with you. But first, let me congratulate you on being a member of the inaugural class. And I wonder if you could actually just tell our listeners a little more about yourself.
Yes, definitely. So I am a second-term California Climate Action Corps fellow. I previously started out as a food recovery and an organic waste fellow. So I was able to work in rescuing food from certain grocery stores and restaurants that were being sent straight to landfills. And I learned so much about how much we waste and cause more methane in the air when we throw away perfectly healthy food. And so that was my first year, and I really loved being able to be part of that site. But I personally love working in communications and marketing. So in this term, I'm able to be a California Climate Action Corps Communications Fellow at the California Natural Resources Agency. It is a state agency, and I help promote the content and educate our followers on the 30 by 30 movement, which is a state initiative to conserve 30% of lands and coastal waters in California by 2030. So I've been able to do a lot more in-person connections with people, interview them, create graphics, create videos, and I really love storytelling. So that's currently my goal to continue doing.
Well, welcome to What on Earth.
Thank you so much.
Now, as you mentioned just now, you work for that California Climate Action Corps. How does that differ from the American Climate Corps?
The California Climate Action Corps is focused in California. So because I've had experience in it, I know that the fields that we cover are urban greening, wildfire resiliency, and food recovery and organic waste. For the American Climate Corps, I'm still learning about it, but there are other fellowships across the country that are focused in climate spaces that include energy. So there are different needs for different states. And so I think it's just a bigger umbrella of who we can work for and who we can help out, which communities we can be a part of, what organizations already exist, and how you can play a role in taking climate action in that specific state.
Yeah, because California Climate Action Corps was the first state-level climate action corps in the U.S., launched in 2020. What difference does it make for you to now be part of a national service that's aiming to put 9,000 young people to work in green jobs by the end of June?
It's really incredible because it was a long time journey for myself to try and figure out where can I take climate action, where can I tell people what I do, why I love it. And I think for a long time, there's so many different sustainable fields and careers that exist, but that aren't very common or they aren't quite yet flushed out the way other careers are. So it was just a great way for me to be involved in something and be able to talk about what we do as co-fellows, as a community, as staff. And I think it's just so awesome to see that we can do it at a bigger scale and nationwide and have recognition that this is really important priority to take care of tackling the climate crisis and to have more eyes on us and have climate action be important to more people.
What got you interested in working in the climate area in the first place?
So I remember being in college and taking my first environmental science class and learning about all the waste that are reaching landfills and that it is being sent out to other countries and other places. And personally, I didn't know about this issue. And I was just really shocked to know that my consumerism habits are just being ignored and pushed away to someone else. And I really wanted to be part of that group of people that start educating people about that instead of constantly adding to it. So that was my first start. And I think food recovery in my home, when I had some roommates, I learned that because I was budgeting, I wanted to make sure that I eat all the food that I bought, but I would see some roommates wasting food. And so I was just trying to think about how can I educate people about why this isn't good? How can I feel more confident? So that's been the start of my environmental consciousness.
Now, before you joined the California Climate Action Corps, what did you think a green job was?
So I thought a green job would be very heavily science-based, and it would be more of chemistry and bio, learning about the properties of the water, of the air, and then constantly tracking it and seeing changes. And personally, I like more of storytelling and communication, so I'm really fortunate to have experienced the social side of environmental work and sustainability. So I got to learn about more of how do we tell the stories and tell people what's going on, what's the chemical properties in the water, and what they can do to help it.
Well, that's interesting. And so your initial sense has expanded. The White House National Climate Director, Ali Zaidi, spoke in a news release about jobs in managing forests or in clean energy or in sustainable farming. Your job, marketing and communications, why do you think that goes together with climate action?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think communications and environmental work are so important because we can continue to do good science-based research and have progress, but if we don't know how to tell our community what they can do to help, to avoid more excess consumption or just not being more sustainably conscious, then we're going to have a hard time struggling to let them help the environment. And so I think there was a time where I noticed that both sustainability work and marketing were almost two concepts that were clashing, where marketing is always buying more and like not having enough of something and investing in new things versus sustainability is more so, what do I already have? How can I make it last longer and for the long run? And so I think it's really important to be able to teach people to not necessarily buy and consume, but to just be more conscious of what they already have. So I think communications is so important for being a long-term sustainable person.
Well, being in the job that I'm in, I can't disagree with you about the importance of communication.
Perfect. Yes.
I mean, there are more than 300 different positions that are listed on the American Climate Corps website right now. Some of them are short-term, some are for a year or so. And the pay really varies. You can run a community garden in Oregon City for $11.29 US an hour, or plan forest restoration projects in California for $28 US an hour. Do those pay ranges sound reasonable to you?
I think in this field of work, there is a lot of passion that comes out of wanting to do this type of climate action work. And so I know that there is probably a gap of learning how to be involved in the climate, and then being able to take those skills and have that apply to work in the field. But I do know that for me, it's really, really important that I'm proud of the work I do. And right now, I just want to continue doing that and sharing that more so than making more money. But the goal is to get more established and more experience so that I can find opportunities that pay me what I deserve.
So what do you think then makes this program appealing? You kind of nodded to this, but what makes it more appealing for young people looking to jumpstart a green career in this economy if it's not a big paycheck?
In my own experience, the way that I am excited to share about the work I do in this California Climate Action Corps has been so helpful for me to reach more opportunities and to find more places where my voice can be heard, where I can connect to more people. And so I think even if I had a career that is making a good amount of money, if I'm not passionate about the work I do, it's a lot harder for me to continue to push for more recognition, for more attention, for being a bigger messenger. And so I think I would hope that young people also see that if they're really passionate about the work they do and they can share that I'm making a difference in my community, in my state, and now all across the country, it's such a strong statement to be able to say. And that's what makes me want to continue being part of this program.
You have already had a number of career highlights. You've met the president twice. You're now part of the first class of the American Climate Corps. What is next for you?
So in my experience with my host site, the California Natural Resources Agency, I've been exposed to environmental policy-related communications. And so this is something I didn't consider before, but I really love being able to make a difference at a statewide level. And so I want to continue pursuing communications in this environmental policy field and to just be able to keep telling stories about the work we do, why it's important, start making content that is trending, that is reaching new audiences. So that is my goal.
China Tai, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Laura. It's been an honor to be on here.